Good morning, it is the middle of July and I'm on a Thameslink service from Peterborough, currently heading down to Biggleswade. Hopefully this video is going to be the first in a series called Exploring the East Coast, where I visit various stations along the East Coast Mainline and see what's there and what's to do and whether it's worth going for a day out. So today I'm going to be ticking off 5 stations south of Peterborough, starting with Biggleswade, then going down to Arlesey, then up to Sandy, then St Neots, and then finally finishing the day in Huntingdon before heading back to Peterborough this evening. So yeah, that's what the plan is. Let's see what's at Biggleswade, but first, welcome to Flights and Times.
We will shortly be arriving at Biggleswade.
So I'm here at the first stop, Biggleswade, about to head into the town centre to see what there is, but the station serves every half hour in each direction by Thameslink services between Peterborough and Horsham, so half hourly service direct into London. In the peak direction and peak hours there is also Great Northern services semi-fast into London, so in the morning peak from Peterborough south into London, and then in the evening peak north from London up to Peterborough, stop here. But all the LNER services pass through fast non-stopping. Like that. So I'm at Victoria Place in the centre of Biggleswade, and behind me is the old town hall, also a former Pizza Express. This was the town hall until the mid-70s, when its role was subsumed into part of Bedfordshire County Council and the local district council. So nothing's run locally now. There is a town council, their offices are in the former magistrates court, which I'll show you in a little bit. That's quite a nice building. But essentially there is a nice pub here and a market square, quite a lot of independent local businesses, but a general market town centre, few local businesses, few chains, the usual mix of charity shops, corner shops, etc. But yeah, so there's not much to do in Biggleswade, but it's a reasonably, if you live here, it seems to be a reasonably nice town centre. So I'm going to go back to the station via what is now the town hall, and then I'm going to get on a train to Arlesey. Not back at the station yet, but it felt a worthwhile intermission. Bedfordshire, that well-known landlocked county of England. There's Sea Cadets in Biggleswade. No idea why, but fair enough. Quite a nice building. But yeah, we'll continue on to the old magistrate court and the station. So this is the former magistrates court, now the council offices. Quite a nice building. back on the Thameslink train, just one stop south now to Arlesey. Review of Biggleswade, yeah, it's alright. I wouldn't go for a specific day out there, but if you're passing through like on a journey on the A1 or something, it's an okay place to stop, get a cup of tea, etc. Have a little potter around. But yeah, certainly not worth a day out. There's nothing specific to do there. It's just a town centre. So I'm here at Arlesey station. Not much here. There's a little ticket office, ticket machine, etc. No gates, so just open access onto the platforms both sides. I think actually the footbridge might well be a public footpath or something like that. Here you only get the half-hourly Thameslink services, so no peak services stop here, and certainly none of the fast services. There's no fast platforms, just the through lines, as you can see. So yeah, half-hourly service here, both ways to London and to Peterborough. And let's go and have a quick wander around and see what's about in Arlesey. So behind me is St Peter's Church, parish church of Arlesey. The church is 12th century, certainly the tower looks it. I think the main part of the church may have been rebuilt in more recent times, but nice little church. There's also some Tudor houses here, or Tudor style at the very least. The little pub opposite. There's also a pub by the station. I'm not actually going to go down to the high street. Looking at Google Maps, there's about 3 shops there and it's mostly residential. So yeah, Arlesey church is nice and pretty. Again, if you happen to be in the area, it might be worth stopping to look at the church. There also seems to be a nature reserve somewhere, but I can't find where it is. It says it's adjacent to the station, but I'm not sure which side. So I'm going to have a quick look and see if I can find that. So it appears the nature reserve is actually on the northbound side of the station, between this and a large car park, just alongside the River Purwell. River Purwell runs into the River Ivel, which in turn runs into the River Great Ouse, which then flows out to the sea up into the Wash. There's a bit of noise. They seem to be doing some work on the station, and also there's the whopping great Arlesey bypass right here, which is making lots of constant noise, whereas the railway is actually almost silent. So yeah, I'm gonna get a train up to Sandy now, maybe St Neots. I might go St Neots first and then Sandy. We'll see how I feel. Potentially northbound 2 or 3 stops. So I decided to come to St Neots first. I'll go back to Sandy after I've looked around here. The station here is about a mile out of the town centre, so I've got about a 20-minute walk in. It does appear though there is a well signposted footpath and cut-throughs to try and make it as short a distance as possible, but just bear that in mind. There is a taxi rank, mini cab office outside the station, so if you're not able to walk a mile, then there's obviously that option. Doesn't look like there's a bus service from the station into town. The thing I did notice at St Neots, which we're missing at Biggleswade and Arlesey, is there are lifts. So station access both ways is step free. I think you have to have a ramp onto the trains, but here at St Neots you can get the train here and step-free access. Biggleswade, there was no step-free access even to the platforms. Arlesey, there were ramps to each platform. However, I don't know how you'd get from one to the other, as there didn't seem to be either a public footpath, footbridge way or road to connect the two sides, and the bridge certainly wasn't step free. So behind me is St Neots Marketplace. As you can see, the town centre is quite historic, lots of wonderful looking buildings. It's because the town centre and a lot of the green spaces in the town are covered by a conservation area, meaning very few changes can be made to the buildings. A few areas had changes made prior to the conservation area or aren't included, so there are areas that are less attractive, shall we say, but there's quite a bit to do in St Neots. Lots of shops to potter around. There is a museum I'm going to visit in a little bit, and I'm also off to an area by the riverside because there is something of interest down there that I want to take a look at. So in front of me you can see the reason that I've come over to Riverside Park is the Riverside Miniature Railway. Unfortunately it's closed today. It's open every Sunday between 12 and 4. Rides are donations of £1. But yeah, so the Riverside Park is to the west of the River Great House from the city centre, town centre. And yeah, this miniature railway runs in a loop around the park. It is a nice thing to do on a Sunday afternoon. So if you're coming into the town, especially on a Sunday, why not head over to Riverside Park, explore the wonderful green space and take a ride on the railway. So behind me is the St Neots Museum. It's a nice little museum with a bit of a history of the town from prehistoric era through to the modern day. It's currently an exhibition about the local school, secondary school as well, showing Matt's history, and it's housed in the former police station, and so the former cell block is open as it was in the early 1900s. Prisoner cells, toilet and exercise yard. It was £3 for entry, or it's free for local residents, so if you're about, make sure you give it a visit. So, told a small lie earlier. Turns out there is a bus to and from the town centre from the station here at St Neots. The 61 runs town circular every half an hour. It's just cost me £1.50 to get back from town. That's a single adult. I'm not quite sure how much a return is, but if you fancy a 20-25 minute walk one way and then the bus back, you've got that option. So for my penultimate stop of the day, I've hopped back over the border into Bedfordshire. I'm at Sandy, which is in the north of the county. Behind me is the railway triangle, which is set of bus stops and a bogie, or well, a wheel set from a train of some sort. There is an information board here, however it is pretty unreadable. The perspex covering it has become fairly opaque, and so the information board is of very little use. But I'm going to wander on into Sandy in a minute and have a look. But before I go into the town centre, just want to show you the double arrows sign here that still has Network South East branding. Network South East went out in privatisation in the mid to late 90s, so only 20-25 years out of date there. But yeah, I'm going off into the town centre now. It looks like to be about a 10-minute walk from the station here, so we'll see what Sandy has to offer. So I'm on my walk into Sandy town centre on the main road, hence all the noise of vehicles going past me. But there is the Mosaic Heritage Trail, which runs through Sandy, Potton and Biggleswade, designed and installed by Oliver Budd in 2017. And this bit shows the Sandy Show, the greatest one-day show in England. First held in 1868, and in the 20s became a massive deal, visited by more than 12,000 people. So the last 2-day show was in 2012, but the one-day annual show continues to this day. So there's a few more down here, but this one is the greatest one-day show in England. So I'm going to see if I can find some more on my wanders and see what else the town has to offer. So I've made it into Sandy town centre. Yeah, there's not much here. Very much a standard town centre that has been, shall we say, somewhat negatively affected by the architecture of the 60s and 70s. But a mix of local shops, post office, co-op, there is a butcher and things like that, a couple of local cafes, but not much here. I've just noticed on the sign Roman Sandy exhibition, so I'm going to see if I can find where that is, but otherwise I'm heading back to the station and to my final stop of the day, Huntingdon. So I can't find the Roman Sandy exhibition, but this is the Sandy Town Council offices, which is in the former fire station that was restored in 1999 by the Town Council. So whilst this video is also going to cover Peterborough, Huntingdon, where I am now, is my final stop for today. I'll pick up Peterborough tomorrow. Behind me is the Sebastopol cannon, or a replica of it at least. The cannon was initially put here as a memorial to the members of the 31st Huntingdonshire Regiment that fought in the Crimean War. The cannon here was captured from the Russians during that conflict, however in 1942 was melted down by the Ministry of Defence to help in the war effort for the Second World War. The one here today is a replica of one Ely Cathedral. The large grand building you can see in the background is the former county hospital, now Millfield Park housing and lodges, but the original hospital for the area. And a very grand building. I was going to film as I arrived at Huntingdon station, however the old A14 viaduct is in the process of being demolished and you can probably still hear the noise in the background, but it was just impossible to film. But that is completely changing the view and scenery around Huntingdon station. Huntingdon, as with Biggleswade and St Neots, gets the half-hourly Thameslink service, also gets peak direction Great Northern services, and I don't think they happen anymore, but occasionally did get the odd LNER northbound service first thing in the morning. I think that has been scrapped. That was initially to help with the chaos caused by a previous timetable change, but I think that's now been scrapped as the current timetable is a lot more robust, shall we say. I'm going to wander into Huntingdon. It's a town full of history. So behind me is the former grammar school of Huntingdon, now the Cromwell Museum. Huntingdon is famous for being the birthplace of Oliver Cromwell, and he studied in the school that was in place in that building. The museum now is free to enter, covers lots of Huntingdon's history, especially the Civil War period, of which Cromwell was of course a key part in. So if you're in Huntingdon, make sure to give that a visit. All Saints Church is also in the main town square, also a place that Cromwell may well have worshipped, and is a wonderful historic church with a wonderful churchyard. And then directly behind me here is the former town hall, which was built in 1745. It's also got an assize court in it, or had an assize court in it, and again is a wonderfully historic building. Huntingdon and the former county of Huntingdonshire certainly is full of history. Make sure to check out the Huntingdonshire History Festival, which is usually annually but hasn't run because of COVID. They are at huntshistfest.com, I believe, or search Huntingdonshire History Festival. Next summer they hope to be back in full, so make sure to come and check out what their events are if you do come and visit Huntingdon. Around Cambridgeshire and Bedfordshire, and I'm in Peterborough, the final of the 6 stops I'm covering in this video. Behind me is the 12th century Peterborough Cathedral, which last year or the year before celebrated its 900th anniversary. The facade behind me is actually from 1238, but other parts of the cathedral are older. Interestingly, inside is the tomb of Catherine of Aragon. It also has a memorial to Mary Queen of Scots, who was executed nearby and initially interred in the cathedral before being moved to Westminster Abbey. So, a couple of things to see in the cathedral. It is completely free to enter, unlike some other big cathedrals. I believe there's a donation if you want to take photos, and obviously you can make a donation for the upkeep of the cathedral, but it is completely free to enter, unlike nearby Ely. Peterborough has lots to see and do. There is the Peterborough Museum in the city centre, tells the story of Peterborough through the ages. There's also the Rail World, Wildlife Haven and Rail Museum on the other side of the Nene, which includes some more unique parts of Britain's railway history. The final stop for this video is the Peterborough Museum and Art Gallery behind me. I've not got time to explore, but I've only heard good things, and as with the cathedral, it's completely free. It's open various times from Tuesday to Sunday. It's closed Monday, so don't head here on a Monday, but it's well worth a visit, and there are special events and stuff that do cost a bit extra, but check out the website to find out more. I'm going to put all the links to the various attractions in the description below. But that's it for my exploration of this part of the East Coast Main Line. So please subscribe to see my next video, like if you've liked the video, and head over to my Patreon at patreon.com/flightsandtimes. Until next time, goodbye.